Well. Hey, wherever you may be, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for tuning in to Locker Talk, where you hear about NFL stars of tomorrow today. I am your host, Barry Barnes, founder and CEO of Locker-Report.com. And you guys can go to the social handles that we are on Twitter at Locker_Report, on Instagram, Locker Report 100, all small caps, on Facebook, LockerReport.com, and also check out the Locker Talk podcast. That's on Facebook. And of course, come on. Come on, man. Okay, folks, look, just slightly over a year, you should know what to do right now. Go to YouTube right now and subscribe to Locker Talk Podcast, where you'll find this great content on the NFL that you will not hear anywhere else around the world. I guarantee it. Okay, folks, here we go. The NFL draft 2022 has passed, and we know it was an exciting draft. All drafts are exciting, despite what any analysts would say, because we get to see young men's lives change right before our eyes. Watching the men give glory to the Lord and to their families, to see these guys can finally walk into their destinies in playing professional football on the highest level of football. Yes, you know, those guys got drafted, they know they want to get themselves in a situation where they can be able to live out their life dream. But here on Locker Talk, we would like to focus on the guys that went undrafted, especially the players that came through our evaluation process of the out listers. Out listers standing for the out part, standing for overlooked unknown talents listings. These are the players that Locker-Report.com had evaluated leading up to the eligible season, the next season, current season that's coming up for the NFL season, for players to watch out for that come from small schools that will have an opportunity to get to the NFL. And from this listing, we did have several players that actually got drafted. But for the best part, several of these players did sign on to clubs. And that's what we want to focus on these players that's from that listing, and most importantly, the undrafted players, because this is what this show is really going to strive on, is on the undrafted players, and then as well as the HBCU players. But today, we're only going to focus on those players that went undrafted, players that came off that listing. So here we go. Let's get you guys familiar with some players out there that you guys may have not heard yet, but I guarantee it, you definitely will. Now, here we go. Now, during this process, we definitely talked about this young man. And listen, I am a witness. I have said a while ago that when we first talked about this one particular player, it almost felt like I shouldn't even talk about it, because I knew that he was going to get drafted. And yes, we're talking about with Mr. Penning himself, Tylenol Penning, who actually got drafted by the New Orleans Saints in the first round, 19th overall. Now, Penning from Northern Iowa, this young man is just lethal. He's filthy, very aggressive. You know, he has no mercy on whoever he lined up against. And we saw that when he was at the Senior Bowl this year, when he went up against, you know, his fellow Senior Bowl participants, as he was throwing guys around out there on the field and causing people an uproar, so to speak, making people mad, you know, wanting to fight him and everything, which is great. It is great because we know that this young man practiced the way how he plays on the field. And this is a good lesson for young players out there. Listen, if you're going to try to play on the highest level of any sport, you have to practice as if it is game day. And this young man showed that type of tenacity. That's why, you know, I fell in love with his skill set. Not surprised to see that he's in the NFL. Not surprised to see that he was drafted. Going in the first round, that was a surprise there. But hey, the Saints recognize talent. They know that he definitely have a higher ceiling, and that young man's going to develop. I just hope he don't slow down on his aggressiveness. That's the part that's going to set him apart for any offensive lineman in the NFL. So definitely watch out for that young man. He's going to do some great things for the New Orleans Saints. Now, I've been high on this one particular quarterback, belly zapping, for the past couple of years. I will say it again, and I've said it several times. He is absolutely the best quarterback that came through the 2022 NFL draft. Yes, I know that you look at, you know, Malik Wilkes of the world, and yes, you look at Pennington, who got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good, solid quarterbacks, you know, that definitely have a good upside. But clearly, in my opinion, that Bailey Zappi will be the best quarterback of this draft. So 10 years from now, make sure you guys remember this. He is the best quarterback that came through this draft. Got drafted in the 4th round by the New England Patriots, 137th overall. And yes, we know that they already have their Mac Jones. You know, they have their franchise quarterback. But I tell you, whether if Bailey will stay with the Patriots for his career or he may go somewhere else, whoever he may be behind, they better make sure they do not slip up. Because when that young man get this ball the first time and he get in that starting lineup, he is not going to relinquish it. He's going to remain that starter. So there's someone to watch out for. Hey, the Patriots already traded away Jason Stidham to the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's showing you a sign right there that this young man is going to be primed to back up Mac Jones. And Mac Jones, I'm being honest with you, don't slip up, because this young man will be there to take your job. So definitely watch out for this young man. He can make all the throws. That's nothing this young man can't do. Coming from a small school, leaving Houston Baptist to go to Western Kentucky, finished a strong season through close to 6,000 yards, 48 touchdowns, and for a small school quarterback to dominate the way he did on the field and against Power 5 squads, teams, like he did against Michigan State. They did lose. However, he still did not shy away from that competition. That says a lot about this young man. So definitely keep your eyes out on him. And then with the Packers, they had Samoy Toy from Nebraska, who actually transferred from Montana when we first started evaluating him. 6'3", 195 pounds. Very explosive, very electric, solid speed, good awareness and vision. Really does very well catching the ball through traffic. Very confident. You know, definitely a solid deep ball catcher. Something I know that Aaron Rodgers is going to enjoy. Throwing the ball to him in a deep pass. Do have the speed to break away. So definitely looking out for seeing what he's going to do when he was drafted in the 7th round from the Green Bay Packers. So definitely watch out for this young man who went 258th overall. Now we're going to get to my favorite part in this process, some undrafted players. Yes, some undrafted players. Here we go. Undrafted players, still sticking with the offense side of the ball. Now, Aaron Johnson, O-lineman from South Dakota State, 6'6", 300 pounds. The Baltimore Ravens had welcomed him in, and you know the Baltimore Ravens is a dominant run team. You know they definitely have Lamar Jackson looking to come back and bounce back and having a solid season, showing his progressiveness as a quarterback. But we know this team is going to be a run-based team, and we know they got themselves an offensive lineman that's going to support the Ravens' vision and making sure that offense run very smooth, especially on the ground, running that clock out, being very physical. This young man definitely fits what the Baltimore Ravens want to do. And the Carolina Panthers, they brought in Rashawn Henry from Virginia. Rashawn Henry originally transferred from St. Francis to finish out his collegiate career in Virginia. He stands 6'2", 195 pounds, catches the ball at the highest point, very athletic, agile, great leaping ability and acceleration, breakaway speed. He knows how to stay within the quarterback's visions, great awareness, catch the ball very well in traffic. He is very dangerous in the slot, especially in the open field, very shifty, an excellent route runner. I think that's something that the Carolina Panthers need, and as this young man moves forward, assuming that he make this team, he definitely will be a great investment for that squad. The Washington Commanders, they bring in someone who's a little familiar with the area, and wide receiver Jaquez Izzard, who actually originally was from Howard but transferred to Sam Houston State. He stands 5'9", 195 pounds, very dangerous, played with a lot of aggressiveness. He's very patient, but yet at the same time he can be very dynamic. Solid hands, catch the ball at the highest point, adjusts his body well to the ball. He is completely fearless, definitely a solid route runner. But what the Washington Commanders have been looking for the longest time is someone in the return game. This young man is an excellent special team ace. I really believe that that's where he's going to find his value with the Commanders in the NFL. So definitely watch out for this young, high-flying wide receiver. He's going to turn some heads in this league. And when we wrap up the last offensive player that came through the evaluation process on the outlets from LockerDashboard.com, this running back, Julius Chestnut from Sacred Heart. Pretty much he was the top running back from the evaluations going into the 2022 season. It's nothing that this young man can do. He got signed with the Tennessee Titans, 6'1", 215 pounds. Now we know that Derrick Henry is going to hold it down. Not saying he's going to go there and just take over, but this running back committee that assuming that if he make this team, he'll be a strong piece on that. Whether if he make this team or not, I honestly believe that he's going to be on someone's NFL roster this year for the 2022 season. This young man is legit. He is, in one word, I would say, is gifted. He's graceful, balanced, light on his feet, breakaway speed, solid plant and go, tremendous plant and go, start and go. Excel in the route tree. You can catch the ball out the backfield with soft hands. A solid catcher, can also break. Also, he's a solid blocker. That's one of the things that make him complete. He blocks very well. Good vision. Patient runner. Can run with power. Very slippery for his size. Solid in traffic. So definitely watch out for this young man, Mr. Julius Chestnut from Sacred Heart, who is currently right now with the Tennessee Titans, and I know for sure he's going to be on their roster or someone's NFL roster, hands down. And when we look at the defense, yes, they had one player from the listing that was drafted, and Zoe McCollum from Sam Houston State. The thing with this year, far as especially with undrafted players, with defensive players, they were looking for these big body guys, and he's a big body guy. Stands 6'4", 195 pounds. This young man is a complete, legit playmaker. The Bucks, who already are solid in the secondary, I'm telling you folks, they got someone here. They got someone special here that's going to turn some heads and will be playing on day one. I clearly believe that this young man is going to turn heads. He's going to be a star in this league. This young man is a playmaker, solid technique, always have his shoulder squares, solid pad level, good speed, strong hands, solid at the run support. Don't be surprised they put him in the box. I know Todd Bowles is going to use this young man a lot. Todd Bowles love his secondary players. He's definitely going to fit the mold for what Todd Bowles want to do, who is now the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Make sure to watch out how he's going to use this young man. He's going to do something. He had a solid workout at the combine. It's all going to translate on the field for this young man on Sundays. Definitely keep your eyes on this young man with Zoe McCollum. He is going to be something else, spectacular defensive player for many years to come. He was drafted in the 5th round, 157th overall. Definitely going to be one of those guys that's going to be around this league for a very long time. And now to get into the rest of the players. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, another good defensive back they have there, and Jack Cochran from South Dakota, 6'3", 230 pounds. This young man is very crafty. He has playmaking ability, can cover deep, can play against the ball very well. Good lateral movement, great pad level. One of the things I would like to say that his strength is that he can be very impactful on day one, assuming that if he make the after roster. He's going to be an NFL player. He is an NFL player, hands down. He knows where to attack at the point of the attack. Very instinctive, active hands, know how to get penetration, can bring good run support, and is very instinctive and have great range for his length and the way how he can cover the field. Definitely look out for this young man, Jack Cochran, for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Las Vegas Raiders, they always seem to find these good players that no one ever never heard of. And this one player they got is Quintero Cole from Louisville. Cole actually transferred from Alcorn State, finished his collegiate career in Louisville. Another big defensive back, 6'3", 195 pounds. Great anticipation awareness. He is what I consider an explosive hitter. When he hits you, everybody's going to feel it. The family members are going to feel it in the stands. That's how hard this young man hit. Very aggressive. He loved contact. He loved putting his hands on somebody. That is something that Mr. Cole is really going to enjoy in this league. He communicates very well on the field. Everyone knows where he's at. He knows where everyone's supposed to be. He already shown during his collegiate career that he is a leader on the defensive side of the ball. Definitely can play the corner. He also can play a little bit of safety as well, particularly a free safety because of his speed and his cover skills. Very patient. Rarely overplays the ball, very balanced, really good against the run, good tackling technique, always have his hips turned out, open, moving very well, fluent, very good in space. And when you talk about zone coverage, this way this young man will excel in a zone coverage defense unit. It's something that the Raiders love to use. This young man right here, definitely keep your eyes out for him. He's definitely going to make an impact. And then the last one from the list, the out list from LockerDashPort.com. Dallas Cowboys always need someone in the secondary. I think they had themselves a steal right here with this young man named Stoney Jackson from our Liberty. 6'2", 225 pounds. He is a savage, relentless, quick, explosive, solid hand technique, good feet, have a very high IQ, Play very good off the edge when needed. This young man definitely across the board can be something very impactful that the Dallas Cowboys definitely need. He's not easily fooled, very instinctive, very versatile, can also stop the run, can cover back deep in the coverage, very determined. This young man had transferred from Perryview to finish out his collegiate career at Liberty. And so that's what we have for us on the wrap up for the players that came from the outlets of LockerDashport.com. Players for you guys to get familiar with during this rookie during the rookie mini camp that had just passed. Some players to get familiar with to follow as the teams move towards their OTAs and then opening towards the training camp. Following these guys. I still believe that some more players going to get brought in, especially this one young player from out of Dayton, Brandon Easterling, another defensive back. This young man is clearly a solid player. Was on the roster for the New York Giants, but I'm quite for sure that someone's going to bring him in. He is a complete defensive back. Whoever locks him down will definitely find out that they had themselves a solid defensive player that's going to be in this league for a very, very long time. There's nothing this young man can't do. He can catch, he can run, he can hit, he can make stops. Very instinctive, know how to be a leader. There's nothing that this young man of God cannot do. I'm looking forward to seeing his name on someone's roster before the 2022 NFL season starts. So folks, that's what we have right now. We'll come back another time and we talk about the HBCU players that had signed on. There was so many reports of so many players from the HBCU that got signed. It was not all accurate, but as the dust settled, waiting for a rookie minicamp which just passed, and when I actually see their names on the roster, then we take it from there. Don't worry, Locker Report will not let you guys down with misinformation that was put out there. So trust me, it was some. We're gonna get that whole thing straightened out when we come back and talk about those players. Thank you once again for tuning in to Locker Talk. We're here about NFL stars of tomorrow today. I'm your host, Barry Bonds, founder and CEO of LockerDashport.com. And you guys, please go to any one of my social handles on Twitter at Locker_Report. On Instagram, Locker Report 100, all small caps. On Facebook, LockerReport.com, and also Locker Talk Podcast. That's on Facebook. And of course,
hey, bro, come on now, dog.
I mean, you guys should not be surprised by now. Y'all guys should have done this by now.
Do it. Just do it.
Yes. What are you waiting for? Get out there, subscribe to this channel on YouTube, Locker Talk Podcast, so you guys can be caught up on some good stuff before the whole world know about it. Especially you fantasy players out there. You want to get hooked on to some players out there early that your buddies don't know about? I'm telling you, this is the place to find out and stick with. You guys will not be disappointed. Let's go, guys. 2022 season almost here. Let's go.